Hi everyone, welcome back to the nest. In order to be in compliance with COPA, I'm asking that all children please turn this channel off now. This channel is intended for adult crafters only. Thanks. Okay, so let's talk tools today. I thought that since I'm trying to do the majority of my videos this year, 2020, to help beginner crafters, that I would go over the essential tools. Let me back up just a minute. This was brought to my attention, and I don't know why I didn't think of it before, by Alicia Wagman, who is Wagman510 here on YouTube. Actually, I think it's Alicia's Crafty Hoblob or something like that now. But she is a newer crafter, and she was talking about some of the things that she wished that she had known, or a video that would have been out there. I know that there are favorite tool videos out there, but she was having difficulty finding one for beginner crafters and the essential tools that you would need. Now, I've been paper crafting for a little over 20 years. I started out scrapbooking, doing 12 by 12 scrapbooks with creative memories. And the first 2 years, I think, that I was doing that, I wound up making like 17 or 18 albums that were so full that, I mean, you couldn't get any more in them. They're really thick. And then I got tired. I got really burnt out on doing those, and I started making little bitty albums. And sometime, you know, if you want to hear it, I can go through my journey with you. But in saying that, I thought that I would tell you what I have learned over the years of what I feel like is essential tools for me. And if I were just beginning, I would like to know some of these things ahead of time, to where I could budget my spending a little bit better and not waste so much money on things that aren't that important. And your tools, you have to have your tools. So aside from, your papers and stuff. But if you're just getting started and you want to know, like, maybe a list of tools, I'm going to go over them. So first off are scissors. And I have a plethora of scissors here. I could go through, I could keep pulling. I even have like these decorative scissors here. I could keep pulling, and this is just one cart that I have. But there are all kinds of scissors out there for you, and this is just a few. I could pull all day. These little scissors right here, I should have thrown them away a long time ago, but I love them, and I can't replace them. I can't find them anywhere again. This is what I used to cut my chipboard with, and it killed my hands, but they're titanium, non-stick, and they are truly non-stick. You can see how well worn and loved these are. And they used to have rubber stuff on the inside of here, but after having glue on my hands and such, it wore off. But scissors, they're really important, and you need a couple of different kinds of scissors. You need a good pair of fussy cutting scissors. This is what I started out with right here. And they really need to be cleaned, and that's embarrassing. But I started out with these Cutter Bee scissors. They work great for fussy cutting if you don't have problems with your hands. If you're doing a lot of fussy cutting and you have issues with your hands, like I do, I have arthritis and fibromyalgia, so I suggest a pair of spring-loaded. And if it were me and I could only afford one pair of fussy cutting scissors, I would just go ahead and get the spring-loaded ones. You can pick these up at Tuesday morning, by the way. But I would just, out of the two, if you can only afford one pair of fussy cutting ones, just go ahead and get the spring-loaded ones. That's what I would do. And then you need, this is not just for paper crafting, this is for crafters in general, because you all, I do more than just paper crafting. I do all kinds of general crafts, and I sew and stuff too. But I have a designated pair of fabric scissors, and these are them. They I think I picked these up at Walmart. But in order, do you see what I've done here? In order to remind me and everyone else that these are not to be cut with anything but fabric, I just put a little scrap of fabric on there. That's just a reminder. And I don't put them with the rest of my paper cutting scissors. So you need a pair of fabric scissors. And then, what else do we have here? You're going to need a pair of long scissors, long reaching scissors. These are the ones that I used before. And I can't bring myself to throw these away. If I could find another pair of these, I would buy them in a heartbeat. I think they came from Walmart, but I can't find them now. And they are Westcott, but they're not the ones like they're selling at the Dollar Tree. Personally, I think those are junk, because I bought 3 pair trying to get them in hopes that they would be like these, and they're not. But these are Westcott, and they're titanium non-stick. I love these scissors. But I found these at Tuesday Morning. They are supposed to be non-stick. They're by Tonic Studios. And you can see that I have a short pair and a long pair. These are pretty good. Are they non-stick? No, because these here, they get all gummed up, and I have to take sandpaper to them and, you know, try to get them cleaned back up. But these are good for trying to cut longer straight lines if you don't want to put it in your paper trimmer, or just to straighten something up. But you do need a pair of long scissors. This is just another option for you for cutting. They're not really, I wouldn't suggest these for fussy cutting. They're just for snipping little things, and that's what I use them for. Let's talk Tim Holtz scissors. These are supposed to be non-stick as well. They're also by Tonic Studios. They, not only, I found them to stick, and get all gummed up and things, but these also have like a serrated edge on them, and I'm not crazy about that. Now I know that he has some more that aren't like this, but I just don't really pull for these. You know, these are if I want to cut something that's really, to be perfectly honest with you, if I have like wire or something that's a thin wire, I'll just use these, because I wasn't a fan of them for anything else. A plus to them is these handles right here, and that was the main reason that I bought them, was for that, in hopes that they would be good. But yeah, not a huge fan. Sorry, but I'm not personally. Now this is my personal opinion and what I found. And then I picked up these little scissors. I think you all saw me haul them. They're by Fiskars. I love Fiskars products. I've said it forever. And by the way, I am not sponsored by anyone. So these are just my honest opinions. These are good little scissors. They're, of course, they're not long scissors. They're not regular short scissors, and they're not, these wouldn't be good for fussy cutting because the blades are wide, but they feel really good in your hands, and they're smooth. They're extremely smooth, and that's something I used to, a little fun fact for you, I used to sell beauty supplies, professional beauty supplies, and your scissors you know, for a hairdresser are the most important tool that you have. So this is why I have this at number 1. So there's that. I'll move this out of the way. The second thing is paper trimmers. I have numerous paper trimmers, and I think this happens with a lot of paper crafters. We are always searching for the best paper trimmer out there, and companies keep coming out with more and more saying this is the best, you're going to get the truest measurement, the truest cut, yada yada yada, with their paper trimmer. And I've fell for a lot of it in hopes of them not being off. But what I have found, and what I keep coming back to, is my Fiskars. Now this is the wider board. It's 6.5 or 6 1/4 inch here on this base. On the base, it's the 6 1/2. They have one that's smaller, but this is the larger board with the extension arm that comes out to 15 and so many inches over here. This is my favorite paper trimmer by Fiskars. Yeah, you have to replace your blades and stuff in this, you know, after you've cut for so long, but you have to with any of them. But I found that this one works best for me, and I've tried them all. But I only use this one. I use this one for paper. I do not use this one for chipboard. But you can. You can, as these dull, I always take a Sharpie and mark. Oh, I'll show you what I do. This is on the side of my Rascog. It's just one of these metal tins that you can buy at the Dollar Tree. I always write old on them in marker, and some of them you can see that it's worn off. Oh, here you go. See how you write old? You can use an old blade and cut your chipboard this, you know, like that. What you'll have to do though is cut it once, flip it over, put it back on the correct line, and then do it again. That's an option for you. That is certainly an option for you, but I'm going to show you what my best friend bought me, because my hands had gotten so bad and I didn't like using my paper trimmer to cut my chipboard. She bought me this one. Now this is, I'll open it up like this. This is the big one with the self, what do you call this? Self-sharpening blade. And you just keep doing this and it will keep sharpening, you know, your blade for you. I love this. I absolutely love this trimmer. And I only use it to cut my chipboard. I wouldn't give anything in the world for it. But it's more expensive. Much more expensive. But this is the way that I look at it. Had I had my regular Fiskars, this one, had I just bought this one and had just bought the other one that I just showed, that I cut my chipboard with, and not wasted my money on all of these other cutting boards that I, you know, had high hopes of, then all of those other regular paper trimmers would have paid for the big one, the big Fiskars that I cut my chipboard with. So, just so you know that. And keep this in mind. These larger, the higher priced tools, these are things that you can ask for Christmas presents, birthday presents, Mother's Day presents, or Father's Day. You know, you may be a dad. You know, Valentine's Day. You know, when you normally get big gifts, you can, you know, ask for something like that, because it's hard to build up your stash and have the right tools and everything. I understand. I get that. So just keep that in mind to do that. Okay, the next one is a scoreboard. Okay, like I said, I'm not just a card maker. I am a paper crafter, a general crafter, you know, I paint, I do a little bit of everything. But if you can only buy one of these, then I suggest to buy the big one. This is a scoreboard. Excuse me, mine is dirty and mine is older, and I don't think that you can buy these anymore. This is a Martha Stewart scoreboard. They don't sell them anymore. However, We Are Memory Keepers does sell one that is almost identical to this. But it's the large one that goes out over 12 inches both ways. And this is an absolute must for paper crafting. And if you can only get one, you know, having two, having a big one and a smaller one is great. But if you can only get one, just go ahead and get the larger one. And that way then you never have to worry about it. So, yeah. Scoreboard. The next thing, I don't have it over here, but it's a self-healing mat. Now you can get these at about anywhere. I don't have one here, but my other desk that you all have seen me film at before, I have several of them to where they cover pretty much my entire desk. I love them. They're so handy. I consider that a tool because if you're using an X-Acto knife or something, you don't have to worry about slicing up your table or your cover here, you know, like what's here. But I would suggest that. And, you know, I see, and I have one of these. Now, I don't have that Tim Holtz mixed media mat because I haven't felt a need for it, a real need for it. I just bought this glass mat here last year. I didn't have one of these. I just had my self-healing mat, and that was it. This is nice, but I don't think I would want to cut using my X-Acto knife on it. I don't know why. It just feels weird to me. But those self-healing mats, they have a grid on them, which will help you in measuring. So I would suggest one of those. The next thing is bone folders. Now, let me show you. Well, oh, I need to get this back out and I can show you from here. Bone folders. Okay, you're going to need one of these. This was one of the first ones that I had. Actually, I had a white one. But this is a Martha Stewart one. It's plastic. It has a very sharp end. And then it has this hook-like thing on here. You want to know what I use the hook for? Just cleaning out the little grooves in my board. I don't like to score with this. And the scoring tool, which I think I've tossed it away, it was thin, plastic, and flimsy. I hated it. But the end was round. I like that part. These right here, if you're using your scoreboard, there's a big possibility you're going to punch through your paper as you're scoring. If you do lighter pressure, that works, but you know, sometimes we get in a hurry and oops, there goes our project. Trust me, I know this. So that's why I use this little stylus tool in my scoring board. It has a small end and a larger end, but it's a ball. Do you see that? And it there's no way that you can, well, I mean, I guess there's some sort of possibility, but the chances are, even if you get in a hurry, you're not going to ruin your piece of paper by punching a hole through it using the stylus. So that's why I always use that. But as far as burnishing my paper, I'm going to see if I can show you all this. Teflon bone folder. These are my two suggestions. If you get the scoreboard, buy yourself a stylus. You can pick these up relatively cheap. Pick you up a stylus and do the bone folder. And I'm going to show you why real quick. Let me grab a black piece of cardstock. Okay, here's a black piece of cardstock. Let's just, well, let's just go ahead and score here. Let's just score it at right there. Okay. So I've scored it. Can you see that line? See how it's, well, you can see it because the metal made a mark. And an indentation, of course, but we fold it over. Let's burnish it with plastic. Oh, this isn't going to show up. Well, first off, can you see? Normally you're going to get with this, and you can't see it, it's there. It makes a mark on black paper. But let me see if I can show you. Do you see how that plastic bone folder is trying to blow out and already weaken a couple of places there in your fold? This is 110-pound cardstock, by the way. So it's the good stuff. That's one of the reasons I don't like a plastic one. I don't like the plastic ones. I don't like the tips like this. And I don't like it because it leaves marks on your paper, and it weakens the paper, your fold so much. That isn't going to last. So let's do another one here. Do you see how flimsy that is already? That is not going to last, people. Let me show you what a Teflon bone folder will do. Okay. See how much cleaner? Do you see? And it doesn't mark your paper. Now, you all can see here. I have used this bone folder for probably, I would say 12 years, this one. And I have used it so much that I have worn a little notch right there in it. Nothing sticks to it. And, well, here's the other side. Nothing sticks to it, and it works so much better. And then look at this. Can you see that difference? I mean, this one here, this may not be as good of an example that I can show you, but this one does better. This one does better than the plastic ones. So that's my opinion of that. Is a Teflon bone folder. If you can only buy one, buy the Teflon bone folder. When you get your scoreboard, buy yourself an inexpensive stylus. Next thing, corner rounders. I just said that I started out with Creative Memories. Here's a little, this is a newer version, but I have an older version that was a decorative one. This one right here. These are great. This is what I started out with. They're good on paper. They're really good on just regular cardstock. This is 65-pound black cardstock right here. And hopefully I can do this. My hands are messed up. But see, works great on this kind of paper. If you're working on thicker paper or you have problems with your hands, as a lot of us crafters do, then this is what I round my corners with for chipboard. I don't know if they still make these or not, but you may be able to find them on eBay or even Etsy. These are Zutter, and they're made to do chipboard. I've had this for years. I mean, golly, I can't even think how many years I've had these. But these are wonderful. They're metal, they're heavy. It doesn't take a lot of strength, even on my bad days, to use this corner rounder. And it's a 1/2 inch. And then I picked up this Crocodile corner chopper. I probably would use this one more and grab it just as much as I do this if it were 1/2 inch, because I have a tendency to like the look of a half an inch rather than an 1/8 or 3/8. That's just me personally. These are great. You know, I've only had a few problems with these chompers. I have several of them that have different designs and such, but to start out, you know, you need a good corner rounder. So there's that. Okay. Next one is a precision tip glue gun. You all, this gun, I'm about afraid to show it to you. I'm ashamed. It looks bad, but here it is. Do you see how the tip goes down smaller? This is an AdTech, and it's a 2-temp, a high and a low. I found that's really important for me, the way that I craft, to have the high and low. Plus, you don't burn yourself nearly as much if you have a low temperature and you can work quickly. So, hot glue gun that has a precision tip. The next one is a heat gun. Now I'm going to show you guys this heat gun that I have. But I'm going to tell you right away that it is not my favorite. And I'm going to tell you why. I picked this one up at Tuesday morning. It is a Marvy heat tool. The reason I'm not a fan of this heat tool is because it only has one setting, off and on. That's it. There isn't a high or low. It does have, you know, a stand like this for you in case your nozzle up here gets too hot. That's nice. But I'm getting ready to go buy me another heat gun like the one that I had for many years until it just absolutely blew up on me. Well, it didn't blow up, it just quit working altogether. I had used it so much. And it's by Paper Studio. It's compact, and it's only about this long. And then the handle actually opens up and extends down, so it will lay flat. It isn't as long as this when the handle is closed up. So that's great for storing it. And then you just extend the handle out. It has two settings on it, high or low. And It's loud, but it worked so well for me. And this one, the way that I craft, I use my heat gun more for drying things than I do embossing. This works okay for embossing. You know, it isn't horrible for embossing, but I have burned more projects with this heat tool right here and just ruined them. Absolutely ruined them than I ever did with the other one. But the other one is Paper Studio from Hobby Lobby, and that's the one that I would suggest. And if I can find a link for that tool, showing you the picture of it, I'll put it in the description box below. I will go look for it for you, because it's that, for me, I found that it was that much better. The next one, rulers. I have a plethora of rulers too. And let's just talk about this one here. Gosh, this is going to sound bad, and y'all are going to think that I don't like Tim Holtz products at all, which is not true. I do like his products. This, whatever you're comfortable with, is what you should just stick with, I think. So, I bought this ruler when it first came out. It has glue and stuff on it, sorry. And a lot of you crafters love this ruler. Absolutely love it. I'm not that big of a fan of it, just to be perfectly honest. It's confusing to me. Very confusing. And I have a hard time seeing. Let's see. I need a piece of paper. If I say, you can kind of see all those other little lines here in between the darker lines, you can kind of see them, right? But I have a construction background. I ran a construction company, so this is really confusing to me. I don't know. I don't like this ruler. I just don't. I don't like it. I like a ruler from a ruler, you know, with all these little bitty lines here and stuff. Now, mind you, my math stinks. Even though I ran a construction company and had to do math on a daily basis, it stinks, but I do know how to read a ruler. I had to, and a measuring tape. So I like these, to where you can see them. I'm not a fan, however, of this Fiskars one. This one. I had a wooden one for years that was by Fiskars, and it had a metal edge in it. Oh, how I love that thing, and I used it all the time. And my metal edge popped out, and I can't find a ruler like that now. So this was the next one that I picked up, and this one came from Dollar Tree. It's okay. I mean, it works okay. But if you're using your X-Acto knife for any reason to try to cut, you're going to cut into it. And as you can see here, as I've done here. So I'm back to square one with those. I don't know if I've cut into this one or not. I don't know. I feel something right there. But that is a plus on the Tim Holtz. If you do a lot of X-Acto cutting, is he has this rolled over metal edge here. But I went back. I've had this. This is called a scale. If you're not sure, if you've never seen anything like this before, this is a scale, and it has numerous. Like, this is your inches. You know, it breaks it down into some things that you probably wouldn't understand, but I've had this. It's an architect scale. I've had this ever since I ran the construction company, because I had to go do takeoffs using blueprints, and so I had to know how to use a scale, and I taught myself, which is scary, but you know, on a blueprint, it will it will tell you, you know, at what scale they have diagrammed everything out. But the only one that I use, of course, is just the inches over here, the 16ths. And it's just like your regular ruler here. And this is the one that I've been using again. I found it. I happened to run across it because I was getting so frustrated with rulers. And I ran across it and I thought, oh, Old Faithful. So I picked this back up, and this is what I've been using. So as far as rulers go, it's an essential tool, but I think it's a personal preference. Whatever you are comfortable with, I think you should use it. You know, get that, and if you really love it, buy two. So there, that's an essential tool, but it's your own personal preference and what you feel comfortable with. The next one is ink blending tools. These little things. So I have them in the square, and then these are some that Lydia bought me for a little gift when we went on our mega shopping trip. These are, I think, Spectrum Noir, and then these are, this is a Spectrum Noir too. This is a Tim Holtz. Just to tell you something about these and what I have learned and what I know. Your pads are interchangeable. And you don't need, I don't think, unless you have just this great big humongous craft space and, you know, you want to spend a lot of money on something that you really don't need to. Personal opinion here. You don't need a handle for every single ink pad, you know, that you have. You just don't need it. Save your money, spend it on paper or embellishments or something else that you need to work with, you know, with your tools. You just don't. Let me show you what I've done, and it's worked for me for years. I'll show you one that I just redid too. Okay. So one thing that I did was I have 3 of these that are like this. One is designated for alcohol inks. And then 2 are designated for me to use just like I'm using right now with the snow and cocoa stuff. These are my 2 colors. So I use these 2. I've been saving these, and I have yet to use one of them because, well, I don't know. I haven't used them yet, but I love them. So if you can afford handles and the little foam things, I'll give you another option in just a second of what you can do. I don't think I have any of them left to show you an example of because I threw them away. But this, I made this little thing years ago. And this is how I store them. Now this one, see, I've moved. I've made some new ones a couple of months ago, but there's Velcro on the back of these, guys, that help you hold it onto your handle. So I just bought some sewing Velcro and cut it in little pieces, and they just stick there, and they're in the book, but I'm not going to contaminate the 2 of those right there. Hang on just a second. And this actually goes easier if you do it where it's like that, and then I can put it down. Okay, so see, I've taken these out and moved them to another book, but this is what I've used for years. And then to keep my my pads from contaminating one another, you just put another little piece of paper in there and then keep flipping See? Like so. And then you just put the name. I just wrote the name of my colors. And then to keep it closed, I just used a hairband, or you could use a rubber band. Sorry guys, I gotta pick up my hairband. I just put that around it. That's an old one, and I'm still using it, but I did make me some new ones. See how nice that is? And it's just a hairband. You can pick up a whole package of them for $1 at Dollar Tree. And so these are all of my Tim Holtz Distress inks, not oxides, but inks. And I have them in color families. And this right here is just some, you could use wax paper, but this was some non-stick paper that came in some of my tape packaging. But that's how I did it. And these were just some round Velcro that I had found somewhere. I think Dollar Tree. But these are ones, I put myself some new pads in here because some of them were worn out. But that's how I do that. So I feel like ink blending tools are very important, but you don't need a handle for every ink pad that you have. Another thing that you can do, and I did this a long time ago, if the lids, look here, let me see if I can do it with this. Pepsi lids or 2-liter lids or lids like this, you can take these and then get some makeup sponges from the dollar store. Let me look and see if I have at least one of those left. No, I threw every single one of them away. I used to use these right here, but I don't pull for them as much anymore. These are just the little finger blenders for you to do your edges. I don't grab for them as much anymore as what I used to. But these little things, these are the round ones. You really need the triangle ones, and you cut them and then hot glue your triangle down in the bottom of your lid and let it dry, and then you can just sit and use it kind of like this. It's a mix of this and these. I don't have any of those, or I would show you. But that's what I used, and then I would take and put my color on a piece of paper and punch it out and glue it to the top of my lid here, and that way I would know what color it was. And I kept it in a storage container like this, but larger. But knowing now what I didn't know then, if I were just starting, I would like to know that you only need some of these, and then make you a little booklet like that, and put your tools in it. I mean, put your pads in it. Okay, next one. This is something, these are my go-to tools all the time. An eyelet setter. Now, I have both of them. I do have both of them. I have the Big Bite and the handheld. If the Big Bite is more expensive, of course, than the handheld. If I could only buy one and that was it, I would just go ahead and get the Big Bite. And then you can pick up this one later. Because you're not limited as with the Big Bite as you are the handheld one. And if you're not limited, then you don't have to wait. You know, if you have a project come to mind, something that you want to do, you don't have to wait. Or figure out another solution. I would just go ahead and get the big bite and then pick this up later. But this is another one of those things that, you know, you use a coupon for, or you ask for Christmas, or, you know, a birthday or something. So this is something that I have found that I use every time that I come to the craft room, pretty much, is I use this for either punching holes, a larger hole, a smaller hole, for a brad, or an eyelet, of course. But I'm all the time using these. So there's that. I'm trying to put some of this stuff back while I'm doing it. Okay, the next thing. This is and this is going to be this may be controversial, but this is another large ticket item. A die cutting machine, or basic shape punches. Now, you all know I'm sure that you all know what a Sizzix Big Shot is, what a Cricut is, what a Gemini is, what a, what are they called? Evolution, or a Vagabond, which those things are awesome. They're all die cutting machines, but they're all very expensive. Yes, they've been selling the die cutting machines, the Evolutions, and even the Sizzix Big Shot at Tuesday morning at great prices. Even the Cricut. That's another big ticket item. That's a nice Christmas or birthday present to ask for. But if you don't have that, basic shape punches. If you're just starting out, get your basic shapes. You know, your circles. You can cut a square. You don't have to worry about that because you have your paper trimmer. But basic shapes, you know, circles, stars, hearts, just basic shapes. And then if you want to start out with just punches, do that. If you want a die cutting machine, okay, I'm going to tell you how many die cutting machines I have. I have a Big Shot. I have the big Gemini. I have a Scan and Cut. And I have a Cricut. I have not used my Scan and Cut as much as I should have. So guilty. I haven't even used my Gemini as much as I should have. My Cricut, I don't like it. Now, this is the Cricut that came out, the very first Cricut that came out, and this is the big one, you know, and everything. But I didn't do my research. That was the biggest waste of money for me personally, because I didn't do my research and see that you had to buy cartridge after cartridge after cartridge to get what you were wanting. And half the time I was looking at it kind of like I do the paper now. And there would only be like, I don't know, 4 or 5 images on this $60 cartridge that I liked. So, not a fan. I know that they've come a long way since then, but I just, that's a lot of technology, so I don't want it. My Big Shot, though, I use that like crazy. And I'm going to start using my Gemini more because it's electric. And so is the Vagabond. That's electric. And if you have problems with your hands or have problems cranking, I suggest one of those for you. But get one that you can, that's versatile, that you can run your steel rule dies through. So there's that. Oh, and my husband's home. Y'all just heard him yell baby. Next thing that I would suggest is, I'm going to try to hurry it up here, is a pokey tool. Hang on just a second. I'm filming. Hang on, baby. The next thing that I would suggest is a pokey tool. I don't know how else to describe it. Oh, honey, sorry. Okay, is a pokey tool. This is the Tim Holtz retractable pokey tool, and you can see I use my tools. This is coming off here because of glues and things that I have on my hands when I'm using it, but I've had this for probably 15 years. Well, it came out, I bought it as soon as it came out, how many ever years ago, and this is the red one, so you all can imagine. But I'm constantly using it. But I did pick this one up at Tuesday morning here recently. I'll tell you the pros and cons to it. There was one of them. I have difficulty getting this lid off. It's nice. It works. It works great. But I do have difficulty with that, and I always have to put my lid back on because I don't want to stab myself. And then on this end, it has, this is like a little thing to pick up sequins and small little things, so that's nice. That's the only real con I guess I would have with this, is that I do have difficulty getting this off. For this, even on my bad days with my hands, I don't have a problem doing that. But a pokey tool, they are used for a multitude of different things. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is stamp platforms and stamp blocks. If you plan on doing a lot of stamping or just card making, then I suggest go ahead and get one of the stamp platforms. Now this one is the Tim Holtz, the traveling platform, and as you all know, I talked about it before. I just bought it this past year, and it's, you know, like the best thing since sliced bread. There's a Misty too that was the original. It's my understanding that the Misty was the original stamp platform. But these are great. Don't invest in one of these though unless you're planning on doing a lot of card making, or like a lot of stamps that a lot of stamping. In other words, if you're just going to do like I don't know, if you're just going to make mini albums or something, just buy you some stamp blocks to start out with, and then work your way into something like this. But if I had started out as just a card maker and this had been out back then, I would have certainly liked this. I've tried those, the Fiskars one where you position it over, you know, with the springs on it, and I wasn't that big of a fan of it, but I do like this one. So there you go. And then my last thing before I go greet my husband home is this. Tweezers, tweezers, tweezers. These, I'll just show you, this is the real stuff. Do you see this here? This is where I was painting. I'm going to have to clean them up. But tweezers, I don't know where I picked these up at. I have no idea. But tweezers, you need them. They're like your third hand. Here's another pair that I keep in an eyeball case. These here are different than these. These you squeeze in to close it. With these, you squeeze in to open. So they're a little bit easier if you have hand issues. But I kind of got used to these even with hand issues. But I picked these up and I'm trying to get used to them, especially on days when I'm really struggling with my hands. So that's it. That is, apologize for this being so long, but I felt like that it was important, and it was brought to my attention that that I should probably share this and let you know back to the basics. Here's the beginnings, and here's the tools that I would suggest that I found that I wish I had known about before I wasted my money on so much other stuff that just wasn't really truly necessary when I first started paper crafting, or with, you know, with some of the things, crafting in general. So anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope that this helped you, and I hope that you're all having a wonderful day. Talk to you later. Bye.